For real though, have y'all tuned in to GV Hot 97?
My weapon of choice.
Y'all better ask somebody. Stay tuned. Stay connected. GV Hot 97.
Let's go. I just wanna give him all the praise. I just wanna give him all the praise. Practitioners on and he's at it again. Where you got it, let's go. Coming from fast on GV Hot 97 and back. Practitioners on and he's at it again. Where you got it, let's go. Coming from fast on GV Hot 97. You about to tell it straight, back it up with scripture. Greg Mo, you know we're Tichenor edition. GV Hot 97 on a mission, but this is our guy. We just blast with the vision. Pray for a soul, he gave us a vision. Now we go live, got the music in the kitchen. Glory to God, stay tuned and listen to the grown folks gospel with the vision. Back, tune in, practitioners on and he's at it again. Where you got, let's go. Coming from first on GV Hot 97.
Dr. Cross,
you're more beautiful than I ever imagined.
Yeah.
I don't like saying God.
You're in the wrong line of business, baby girl.
The streets would be safer with him behind bars.
And you are?
His twin sisters. One's a doctor and one's a drug-pushing criminal. Oh, I wasn't even ready.
For what?
For all of that. What do we have?
12-year-old girl found beat.
And whoever did this to her needs to be gutted with a dull knife.
He was part of that sex trafficking ring that's going down right in our neighborhood.
I'm in this with you.
And boss up.
There's this whole other dark side to you.
I've killed 2 men in a 24-hour period.
I'm from the same hood as him.
I'm not letting you walk away that easily.
Doctors just don't go around killing people.
Crazy ones do.
I know evil when I see it.
Just let me go. I'll never say a word.
No, you won't. You'll be dead.
This is Greg Tichenor, the Bishop on GV Hot 97, and my co-host is the Lioness. What's up, girl?
Ooh-wee, it's getting hot over here. It's getting hot. It is so hot in here right now, Bishop.
Yes, we have Howard Gibson from them Gibson Films on here today. What's going on, man?
I'm good, man. I'm glad to be here. Yes, sir.
Glory to God. Glad to have you here, brother.
Yes, sir.
So,
did somebody say double cross? Did somebody say double cross?
Yeah.
Right.
Double cross, man.
Them Gibson Films.
Yes. I guess you all like the show. I hope so, right?
Well, hey, I watched the first season, the first episode, and I got sucked in.
Okay. Yes.
So I'm all in, man. You know, when you're talking about sex trafficking in the hood, who thought of that concept, man?
You know what, man? You know, it kind of came to us to come up with an idea that we can tackle topics that we know that exist in our communities, and we have little to no power in it. I mean, like, you know, it's been so, you know, we all get Amber Alert, you know, messages all the time in all of these things. Yeah. And we'll see it, and then we'll swipe over and continue our lives. And at that moment, there's a child that's abducted, and there's a whole life, you know, that gets destroyed or gets taken away, and a family that's destroyed behind it. And that happens so often that it's just literally an alarm and a swipe over, and we're devastated. And it happens in the inner cities, in the communities where there's no power, there's no voice, there's no media, there's no infrastructure, there's nothing. We decided to tackle that subject. My sister and I, Crystal Gibson, she's 14 months older than that, and we came up in the inner cities of Washington, D.C., and remember some of our friends that we love so much coming up, and then they vanished, you know, and had that. And those kind of things affect a lot of people. And I kind of grew up in church where kids would come up missing, and, you know, later they're dead. And what happened? And I had so many friends just kind of grabbed off the streets and coming back missing. And it just is something that kind of sat on us. And it was something that Crystal really, you know, we talked about it, and little did I know it, she would come back come up with Erica and Eric Cross, which is kind of alter egos of us in such a way in our altered universe, and came up in this way, you know, and then we knew we were going to tackle a really, really important subject matter. So we had to be creative, and then we had to grab you. And so that's the reason for episode 1, to kind of tie you into a greater story and a deeper story that we hope you can sit back and enjoy and go along the ride, because you never know what happens, you know?
And you talk about a ride. On the first episode, when she was sitting outside the bathroom door,
yes,
I kept saying, girl, what is you gonna do? What are you about to do? Just to see the way it kicked off.
Yeah.
Hey, look here. That was a masterpiece in itself.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah.
It's one of those things where, let me tell you, a portion of that story in that moment comes from a real place of coming up and hearing things along the way. Again, coming out of church, you know, my parents are pastors, and we went from, 30 members to thousands of members. And I just remember just meeting so many different stories and people going through so much. And, what can I say? And it was a portion of that. And then Crystal put the Wonder Twin magic on it and was like, what would a woman do? And she was like, you know what? Somebody might snap. I mean, like, what can you say? Like, and she snapped.
It started off like, boom, we coming through the door. I love it.
Right. It makes you want to keep watching it. Coming from the hood, sex trafficking, it's a huge deal, and it's going on all around the world, and no one sheds light on it. And for you guys to do it in this film right here, in this series, it's phenomenal.
You know, it resonated well. It resonated very well. Last year, season 1, we released April of 2020. It was about a month into COVID. Everybody was still fresh at home. We were in the fever pitch of just being entertained and what's going on. Everybody was watching television just for information about COVID, and episode 1 hit them, and it shocked everybody. And took to the point where Crystal and I, we were looking, and then, we had UMC put out, at that time, Urban Movie Channel had put out a clip, of the episode 1. And probably like in the first 20 minutes, it was like 100,000. First 20 minutes.
Wow.
And I said, well, I don't know. My sister called me and said, Howard, that's really unusual. I think something's going on. And so I blasé it. I'm like, okay, yeah, 100,000. That was pretty good. But I don't know, because the network is power, and, they already have a big audience.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 6 hours later, we're over 1 million. We're like, okay, all right. And so by the next following day, we were well over 2. And then after that, every single day, another million. And by the finale, we were well over 20 million streamed in. And it was something to see.
That's history.
Yeah, it was. In fact, UMC, the mainstream Hollywood caught wind of what even UMC was. They didn't even know what Urban Movie Channel was. And so Hollywood Reporter, Deadline, the Variety, everybody, People Magazine, people reached out like, what network is this and where is this coming from? They went after the show for the first week, and UMC kept crashing. I don't talk too much about that. I don't want to boast or anything, but God is just good. He's awesome. But
hey, come on now.
But
to God.
It crashed, and it would crash every single day. And they were like, that first 24 hours was ridiculous. It was like crashing. And then people were jumping on the Roku and Amazon Prime and Apple and other, installations. At the end of the finale, we found that we hit number 1 3 times across all social media.
Hey, man.
Wow.
All streaming. And we were like, whoa, and God is a blessing. In the midst of COVID, there were a lot of people able to see this message, pull people in, and give a voice, give a really strong voice, and give a open dialogue to human trafficking at the fever pitch of the human trafficking news coming out in a big way during that time.
Right.
As well as George Floyd's situation and that happened.
Right.
And police brutality. And, we also decided that, Darren DeWitt Hitson and Jasmine Burke played Detective Kansas and Detective Ryan. Mm-hmm. We did that and we said, really, do it with some heart and do it with some respect, but be flawed, be human. And we accept that. But, when there's a scene, I think it was episode 3, where we had one of the boys to run and they stop him and they find him with some marijuana.
Uh-huh.
They didn't kill him. That was the week that happened to George Floyd.
Wow.
That week. So that sensitivity hit a fever pitch.
Yeah. And they acted as parents.
Absolutely.
The dynamic of all these characters are beautiful. You can tell they human. I love that Eric and Erica are thick as thieves, literally. Literally.
Yes.
Right. So when it comes to police brutality and Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, how have you used your platform to help in those situations?
We knew that this was an ongoing problem, and we wanted to shed on some responsibility in how we project police, how we project the Black community could and should be. Mm-hmm. And we kind of drew that line to make sure that, these police are real human and they're going to deal with these people like their community, like their family. And that's what happened. And again, that week it aired, it was just the contrary in our real world. People resonated with that scene. It was, again, history. And Double Cross broke a lot of amazing records. It wasn't something that we went out to do. It was a very, very small micro budget. And we did it. It's a family owned business. My sister and I have cousins and, on the set. And this season 2, my father, my children, my wife, everybody's on sets helping out, doing COVID compliances. And we really get together like a family-owned business to make it happen. We do everything. We write it, we direct it, we produce it, we edit it, we do everything. I do the visual effects on it with my team.
Come on.
And we deliver it on time, on budget, And even during the second COVID pandemic, there was a lot of challenges that hit us. We walking in knowing that we have to face these battles. And that was a chore within itself. And so we knew that we just had to keep this message going. And it's just the start of a bigger message that we want to talk about, because since that time, because of this narrative that we've created, we've been blessed with organizations coming to us and talking to us about bigger issues in human trafficking and the ramification of that. What happens after someone has been accosted and abducted and abused for many years? What are they doing? How are they living as adults?
Wow. Yes.
And so like mental health. And so at the end of the day, it creates mental health in that kind of way that we don't see. It's invisible, right? Mm-hmm. But that's the darkest way. That's the darkest alley to go down. And so I think with season 2, we started to dive into the darker alley of the life and for them to deal with more complex situations, human, that's season 2. So that's pretty much where we are. There's a lot of responsibility that we hold on it, what's happening in our world right now, in our politics and in our churches that are now disbanded, and people who are facing community anxiety. Mm-hmm. We're just hoping that at least our show can pull people together those Thursdays to watch it.
We're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about second season and then what you got going on in the near future.
Cool.
Dr. Cross and her twin brother, they're all over the news.
None of this makes any sense. I know Erica. She wouldn't kill anyone.
When I find those twins, I'm going to make them pay. Yeah.
I'm not going to sit around and hide.
How is it that you escape the tangled webs you weave?
In the car. First you try to get my sister in jail, then you blackmail her.
You Cross siblings, gorgeous. Both of you are wanted fugitives.
I kill people who deserve it.
You think you're some superhero or something running around here killing bad guys?
Taking them all down.
We were ambushed.
My partner got killed.
Love, such a fickle emotion. Find those twins and kill them. You don't know me, do you?
Who are you?
I'm Robin Cross. I'm your baby sister.
Wow. We're back with Mr. Gibson, Howard Gibson from Double Cross them Gibson Films and The Lioness. Yo, man, that was a great clip. So tell us about how you all got started in the film industry.
It started many, many years ago, man. It's I tell everybody it took us 40 years to make be an overnight success, because we started this so long ago. We were kids. My dad was an avid, enthusiastic filmmaker on the side of his real world, but that was his passion that bled into us. And so, we always had cameras around us, from film cameras and projection to VHS camcorders given to us. And he showed us how to be filmmakers. We would just watch him film something, and I just reflected what my father taught me, and I look at that. I look at who we are. My mom is a storyteller. My dad's a storyteller, and that shines into my sister. And we balance in exactly that same equal way. It's kind of the Wonder Twins, really and truly. I'll let her shape the way she shapes, and I form the way I'm going to form, and we go like this, And so we did independent films when we were kids, a lot of short films, edit them together, and we would show the family reunions. Everybody would see the shorts, and picnics. They come over and say, oh, let's watch Dim Gibson films. So this thing is, Dim Gibson's has been I'm 47. I've been doing this since I was 7.
Come on.
So this is not even a joke, So it is just we can close our eyes and I'll know exactly how she's going to move, and she knows how I'm going to move. I know what her super strength is, and she know where mine is. And that's just how we cultivated coming up. And she's my big sister. She's 14 months older. So you can imagine, if you have a 14-month older sibling as a girl, she's going to make you do what she wants you to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's how it's always been. How would you go to do that?
Because I say it.
And so that's been our ecosystem, along the way. And, and I kind of grew up in my way. And then now she realized, okay, Howard, this is what, and that turns into Erica and Erica Cross. So our family and our internal friends, they look at the show and be like, oh, I know what that is. I know what this is. And it's fun that I have those inside kind of jokes built in that only the chosen few wouldn't see it and know, and even names and everything along the way, And it's a full circle for me, because this is something that we dreamt about. I basically took a pause out of the film business from 2012. I was really despondent on the infrastructure and the sustainability of filmmaking, and how people could find some sort of pathway and pipeline to get, technology and pull all those things together with all these mobiles. How can we use these things to really monetize? Okay, I got it, but how can we really make some money out of it? And, and I had to create some sort of pipeline to do it at the highest level, but at the shoestring budget. And we cultivated that with Double Cross.
Sounds like they played hand in hand. So really what God was doing was getting you ready and positioning you for such a time as this. What did it take? Because, I know, like you just said, your sister, she's older than you. She kind of tell you what to do. What did it take to build that dynamic? Sometimes kids that are close to each other, and they so close that they almost don't get along because they
almost don't listen to each other, right? Yeah, but that comes over time. This is thing, good things age in time. This is fine wine between Crystal and I.
Come on.
This is fine wine. This really what it is, and we age well in how to understand each other. But we do it for one reason, to make the best product we can make. And so we don't have any of those kind of beefs at all. I mean, it's just the blessing is poured into this thing. When I tell you it's so natural, I've been absolutely blessed coming out of Southeast DC. My dad was, pushing together, nothing special that would get me to where I am today, and he gave me that strength and that courage and that confidence. It's all I needed. He put God in the forefront of that. And I just prayed my way all the way, believing that this day will come. And we have gone through a gauntlet of life. My sister has 6 kids. You know, I've got 4. I've had 2 strokes, been in a comatose and came out. I had a stroke, paralyzed on my left side, you know. And so this is nothing more than a miraculous miracle, because when I came out of my stroke in 2012, they told me I wasn't done. And I had to believe that. And so that slowed me down and got me out of the entertainment business and start answering the things that made me angry about. And God was like, focus in on that. So I focused on the financial side, the technology side, the infrastructure, and how to cultivate something that can be sustainable for not only me, but not only for my kids, but for the generation, and create not just be rich, but to be wealthy and have wealth inside the family. And it was generational wealth. Now I had to make my parents happy about and excited about what I'm doing. They love me. You know, I've done a lot, but, you know, I've never done it when my mom and dad and my sons and my daughters and my kids and my cousins and my old high school buddies on my set. And I cried every day.
Wow.
Incredible.
Look at God. Look at God. Only God can do something like this, brother. I mean, it's so inspiring. Tell us about your entrepreneurship. You have your own business.
I do. I am very much an entrepreneur over this course of almost 28, 29 years in this business. I've come from being a production assistant and really walked my way up the ranks and understanding the business side. The first 20 years of my life was on the production side of it. But again, it was those things where shape-shifting and technology was taking over, right? So that was hurting my business. And my main business was commercials and music videos. And I was making a heck of a living, young 20s and driving exotic cars. And it got to the point where nobody was preparing me for that, and financing and everything. And so that just had to say, okay, I can't lose anymore. God is blessing me, but I'm forgetting that how I got there. I can't celebrate all day, and too long. And I'm driving Ferrari for me. I don't know who I'm driving for, but for me, so I had to just unlearn some things.
Yeah.
And so all of that, again, it had to push me there. I didn't experience Christmas and, Thanksgiving 2012. I was down all of 2013, down and losing it all. And it was just so I could build up this. I could not even imagine that I had billboards from, in Times Square and Hollywood Boulevard right now, and Atlanta down the street. And I can ride down the street and my kids and people call me up and say, man, I see these billboards, Doc. What? And I'm humbled at that point. I'm like, I'm grateful for them to be there because I'm showing you we can do it because I did it. And I'm believing in God to keep me going. And so you can't stop it. So going back to your point, y'all got me all hyped. Going back to your point, I'm going to tell you, man, because I'm passionate about it. So I have the Level Studio. So we have them Gibsons, my sister and I, but my Level Studio, we do, acceleration programming. We teach kids and teach adults, anybody who's willing to learn the business now. If you're in school, you went to college last year, guess what? Unlearn everything in the film school business because everything is shaping, shifting right now. It's changing. And I am in the midst of this. We are living in a new dynamic when it comes to cinema. You have to do a few things. One, you can't just write a screenplay. It's also got to be COVID compliant. You also got to learn how to deal with unions and guilds. You also got to learn how to deal with the health department now, who's a new division in your life. And then you got to learn how to just zone yourself out to even operate. This is a big infrastructure. This is not kids getting the tripod anymore, pointing the camera and shooting. You can't do it. They won't accept it in the streaming. So even if you have a great story, if you don't understand how to design the story, how to execute the story, I don't care how much they like it. If they green light it, they can't get it done if you can't reach your compliance. So these are the things I had to sit back from 2012 to really dig into infrastructure so that this time can happen.
Yeah.
And when it hit us, we knew what to do. We coming from Black cinema. We coming from working from limitations.
Right.
We come from, okay, I'm going to do what's in my hand. So
where there's a will, there's a way.
That's the case. It's always been the case for Black cinema. Wherever there's a will, there's a way. And we have to ride through the obstacles. So I'm thankful for that because we weren't going to let anything stop us. In season 3, we're not going to let anything stop anything from moving because God has it for us to give back to others. And so how I'm building them Gibsons and how we're building our infrastructure and accelerator, I want people to invest in themselves. I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it all to you. I'm going to give it to you. And it's your decision to go ahead and use this and take this lesson. This is a real lesson. This is a right now lesson. And it's that altar call to God, kind of like, look, if you want it, what do you want? Ask yourself that. And I'm telling you the answer. And if you can't handle it, that's on you. But you deal with God and yourself inside of it because it's here now. And I need my people, my soldiers to get up and be ready to go. Understand that this film industry is a business. It's not dealing in the thousands or hundreds of thousands. It's dealing in the millions. And now it's our opportunity. We have pipeline with All Black. It's ready to go. This thing is operated by a Black, owner, Bob Johnson.
Yeah, from BT.
Right.
That's right. That's right. I ain't never experienced this before, bro. I've been on.
Wow. That is so dope. But yo, man, we are proud, and I mean, we're thankful to have you on the GrownFolk Gospel Radio Show, man.
So what's coming up on 3? Can I ask that?
Yeah, what's going to happen up next is going to be we're going to focus in on our accelerating our workshops March 5th. So for the public, for the people to connect with us, to learn more about the process and how to get Double Cross up to where it is now, which is all over the world now. It's amazing coming from this. We want to tell you the story. We want to teach people that, and we want to give you that opportunity pipeline because now not only are we trying to teach, we're not just professors in this thing. We're actually learning by working, and so we're looking for new talent. We're looking for people in front of the camera. We're looking for people behind the scene. And we're going to teach them not only to be on productions, but also how to be a producer, how to line produce, how to look at the studios and deal with studios, how to deal with marketing and campaigns. I mean, really get people nudged in there, really direct. And there's things that you really have to learn in order to operate a studio. There's not just you got a good movie and they can give you the budget. You got to know how to deal with your Schedule G's. What is that? I mean, you really have to learn a lot of stuff. We're going to give you that pipeline. If they can focus on it, they pray and believe in themselves enough, believe what God has for them, and they move forward on it, guess what's going to happen? Nurse Brian was auditioned for us in D.C. That's Nurse Brian now. He is a household name turned into.
Man, he's good.
Dr. Synchron, Nurse Rachel. I mean, I got a whole laundry list of people who came from D.C., Maryland area where we were from front and behind it, our producers, everyone for the first time, and now they have the #1 top show on the network, streaming network, breaking records across all streaming.
How can people find you? How can they find this opportunity?
You can find us on Instagram. We communicate specifically there on Dem Gibson's Films, at Dem Gibson's Films. We have announcement there, and as well as our PR is Apostle Verl Howard, communicate directly with her. So she has the most
shout out to Apostle.
Shout out Apostle.
That's right. That's right. She's my protector and my guidance in many, many years, for many decades now. And so she's the guiding force behind that. She's just going to unleash me, and Crystal to y'all. We're going to answer the questions y'all need to get answered. My mama a long time ago, Howard, find yourself something that you can find making money when you sleep. And I'm just like, thank you, Mom. She's still alive to see this today. And we're making money when we sleep.
Amen. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. All right. So season 2 is over. We'll see you on season 3. Amen. Double Cross.
Thank you,
Hallelujah.
Thank you for being on the show, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Blessed.
All right.
God bless you.
All right.
All right.
Glory to God.